G'day everyone and welcome to King of the Hill. You're joining us on Throne with the lava modifications, where we have ourselves a lovely 7 kings in the middle and 42 peasants around the outside. Quick update on the rules. We do have a plus 60 bonus for the kings, which gives them a chance to scale. No offensive structures. A couple of unit modifications such as no air, no LRPC equivalents, and we've turned off T2 and T1.5 missile units just so the kings have a chance on this one. Other than that, at 10 minutes the lava will drop and the game will be on. Joining me in the casting booth is Twig and Tank Tom. And around the map we have many all-stars and many well-known players joining us tonight, so hopefully it'll be a good one.
Yeah, slightly less peasants than we've seen in previous games of Throne at, 40 something. But we do have a few names up here on the hill that I haven't seen before. So we have bumped their bonus up by an extra 10% from the standard 50 for kings on this map. So rounding out at 60% bonus means that they should be able to get up quite a decent economy by that 10-minute mark. We just hope they know the meta for these positions, which typically we see these wings going into a lot of units before that 10-minute mark and some T2 economy, and also defending along these hills so we don't see the spiders climb up over these hills. Then we got these 3 entrances that Spirits, Korra and Watch Behind are on. They got to defend. They're going to get hit first by ticks, by T1 units, maybe by the odd T2 unit, and we have seen in some games the odd T3 unit at the 10-minute mark out of the peasants. That's nasty when that happens. And then we've got the eco position up here. Orat Tab might even get an APHIS up by the 10-minute mark with the 60% bonus. We'll see how he goes.
Just talking quickly about the meta in general to defend these positions, you want to have a series of T1 defenses. Beamers are particularly good, Twin Guards are fine, and then a few pop-ups. You also want a little bit of T2 punch, so a couple of the T2 pop-ups, maybe 1 or 2 of the T2 artilleries should be enough to hold, and then just use walls to your advantage to keep the space nice and dealt with. If you don't get enough, these positions can break very quickly, because if peasants get aggressive in T1, you can see hundreds of tanks coming at you at that 10-minute mark. In these wings positions, try to keep your stuff away from the edge as much as possible, because spiders can pop over and do a lot of damage. It's also the place that the artillery is going to hit first. Just remember that even if the enemy can't see, they know where your mexes are going to be, and they can guess where the rest of your stuff is probably going to be, so move it back in as far as you can. Your bare minimum to be effective is to have a T2 and a fusion up by that 10-minute mark, though preferably significantly more. We've seen plenty of builds that can get 2 to 3 out, no problem whatsoever. Around the outside, the meta continues to be a very nice amount of co-op, where you can see Chronographer and Mazza on the right-hand side. On the bottom right, we have Small, IB, Sleepy, Scarve as well. Looks like a little bit less co-op on the left-hand side. Top of the map, though, this is the corner to be absolutely terrified of. Classic Thule, and I do believe that we also had Maladay up here as well, which means that's going to be a nice, scary lane to deal with. But we're not going to discount the Newt clan, J Frost and I Kill You for fun. These guys have absolutely dominated a few of the games in the past. They might not always put the flashiest of plays in, but the consistent pressure and the unbreakable nature of their corner tends to absolutely destroy. One day I want to throw Chronographer at them as well, so that we see all of those lovely little EMP bots, the rolling bombs, the commandos, all that sort of thing. The things that he is absolutely best in up in that corner.
Yeah, Chronographer going for those kind of players that you don't see as much in these games, the unthought of ones, the ones that are a little bit undefended from. Do want to look down bottom right as well. We're going to check back in here. We've got Duffy going into just a solo position, someone that really does get the economy going up just by buying T2 and really going into the right amount of build power and spreading out wind production throughout the base there. So going to have quite a good base based on what I've seen in previous weeks, despite only going at this solo. So this is what you want to strive for if you are a another player just playing by yourself in a position without many mechs.
We've also got Bob sitting in the very bottom of the map. I know this is their first game today after a bit of a nap, so we'll see how they run.
I'm seeing
and being in that outside, being in the outer sea, the dry sea, great place to start. If you're not particularly familiar, it's all about scaling that economy and coming online later. If you do see an area in front of you falling, then push those units out as quickly as you can to help, because if the guys in front of you fall, you definitely will. But otherwise, you're free to just to scale and be that force multiplier that ends the game after the 25-30 minute mark.
Let's look back in the middle. We've got very standard builds. Alright, going into the first fusion. It's almost coming up. We've got T2 mexes being upgraded for most players, but then unfortunately some of the bases, not where I'd want to see them. There's a lot of economy coming out of Spears. So that's Spears. Defending with some walls, but you really want to get that T2 happening. You want to get those mexes upgraded. Having been gifted a T2 constructor now, we should see them come up, but it is almost the 7-minute mark, so by the time this one constructor walks all the way across, I reckon it's going to be a little bit lacking here in terms of defenses. Similarly, watch behind, building economy right up onto this ramp. This will get flooded by T1 at the 10-minute mark, so you're going to have to make sure get over there for some defenses, and going into enough build power to probably fund an APHIS from what I'm seeing in the left-hand side.
Real lack of defenses on his ramp though.
I don't start my defenses till 8 minutes anyway. The issue that I'm seeing is the lack of build power where the defenses need to be put up.
Going into what we've seen from Korra on the right, a little bit more what you'd see going into the gauntlets. You don't see these that often. Not bad. Like if you get to the sniper stage of the game, they're going to do quite well if you manual fire them. If they don't target the spam, they do have a problem though when you just get spam in the base. Any artillery ends up doing just as much damage to your own stuff.
Ooh, yeah.
One of the important things if you're on these if you're on these ramp positions, is to try and get at least a fusion down. It makes it incredibly difficult to hold these ramps if you don't have that bonus income, because you only have a handful of mexes to be running off of. If you don't build any defenses till about the 8-minute mark, you'll notice that just the metal up the front here, so the T1 lab is 500, the 2 gauntlets is another, brings you up to 2,400. You're almost at that you're almost halfway to the fusion. Throw in those LLTs and the metal in the bank, and you actually have that fusion already. That leaves you 2 minutes to get all these defenses up, and with the bonus income from that fusion, it's going to make a big difference, because a fusion doesn't just grant you plus 10 metal, it actually grants you closer to plus 30 metal when you're on a 60% bonus, which means that we'd be seeing a nice increase of around about 30% of the income just from that one little move, and it wouldn't affect your ability by that 10-minute mark to defend.
Big food for on that one there. I just jumping back over to watch behind. They might actually get this APHIS up with time to spare. And they've started reclaiming stuff on the front line there to make way for defenses. But yeah, what you said before, not enough defenses here. Not enough build power here. Going for the Control D on those converters to clear up that space. Reclaim all those wins, get the bonus on them. That's totally fine. Part of your standard build.
Reclaim the lab. The lab is enough metal to get the APHIS up.
I do like to see that the T2 constructor was built to get some of those T2 defenses up in front.
But again, the build power just pretty late to force it out quickly. With a minute to go, I think the most we'll see up is about 5 beamers and 2 T2 defenses at that 10-minute mark. But he only has to defend against 4 stouts and 11 maces. So risks like this are part of the balance of King of the Hill. If the peasants do not aggress, the kings are free to do as they please, and they will win. There is no bonus that exists that we could give them that will prevent them from winning if you let them scale without having to build defenses. The most recent Kings game that I played was on Raptor Crater, and because I didn't have to build units, I managed to get myself up to a 20 APHIS economy by about the 18-minute mark.
Here goes the lava,
That's
and
10
the
minutes.
economy is actually not looking too bad for the Kings. At about that 60% metal deficit from the Peasants, which is totally normal when you got 40 more players on that team. Many more T2 units coming out of the Kings than we have coming out of the Peasants, but there is a T3 lab being built in the top right out of the Nuke clan, so watch that in a minute once that's up. It's going to be interesting.
Very nicely done. Only 100 units on the map total at the moment, 137 now. So not going to be a massively aggressive 10-minute start, which is a really big bonus for the Kings.
Got some spiders lining up over here out of Jim Jace. Rather than being aggressed by spiders, he's sending them out. Hopefully we see them crest over the edge. There we go. So commander there
that
inside.
That needs to get invisible.
Yeah. You might get some D-guns
off.
It's
going to a couple of D-guns, but plenty of those spiders are getting across the way. And there goes the comm, and those spiders are going to be unchecked. This is where the players above and the players below need to immediately get onto the units and just clean this up, because those spiders will be able to do a lot of damage, but only if they are left unchecked. Imperator is trying to deal with them now, manages to degun one of them, but 3 of them still waddling around. They are a bit faster than that comm. So no worries there. I do love the spider aggression, though. It's a very quick way to get units to the Peasants, and if they have over-ecoed, they have really good range, really good skirmish capabilities, and they can attack from all the angles you don't expect. So it means that anyone who hasn't invested in those units is going to be in trouble.
Yeah.
Pulsar doing a good job of cleaning them up, though.
And some more coming over the north. But what is happening with all this micro is not getting enough build power in the base, and we've got 6,000 metal in the bank right now for Jim Jace, overflowing to the rest of the team, and 3 of the Kings are maxed out on metal. You want to spend that, get that build power happening, guys. Get T3 lab up if you need to spend it.
Talking about the economy scaling, watch behind, because they were not aggressed at the front. Has managed to go into 2 APHIS already by the 12-minute mark. They're sitting at a 200 metal income, which means that they're going to have the metal to scale while building units, which they shouldn't be allowed to have. This front was very, very crushable, but unfortunately with little to no units out, the Kings are in a very good position to scale from here.
I do like the mummies being pushed out here. I played a game the other day, getting a mummy out early just meant walking through the base of the enemy, because T1 just do not kill them fast enough unless you get a commander there. That's so good. They are so bulky. Mammoths almost can take on a Razorback one-on-one.
I think they do take on a Razorback one-on-one.
I think they lose with the Razorback having like 10% of its health left, something like that. I can't remember. We did.
There you go, metal for metal though. That's a great trade.
Oh, such a good trade. In fact, that's a win. It's a win so long as that Razorback doesn't get healed. Not looking too bad out of all these guys. A bit of a push on the right. I am waiting to see some T3 come over the hill from I Kill You For Fun, who has that first T3 unit out on the field. Yeah, catapult.
And this is where things get really dangerous. These Kings have done a really good job so far of getting aggressive and being greedy, essentially, to take advantage of the slightly lower number of Peasant players. But that means that a lot of them have not pulled their economies back, which means things like using that catapult to target fire the top of the cliff, so you just pop an attack command right there. It will overspill into the base, and there is plenty of damage to be done, and not a lot that can push out to take it at the moment, so hopefully we see a bit of damage there. Peasants with good control around the outside, but these mammoths are really waging war over here. The Peasants are really going to need to deal with them somehow. With the spam there, it's going to be difficult to degun them as well, so we're going to have to see some good plays here. The artillery is a good call, the pulsars are a good call, but without the spam and without the vision, it's going to be of a limited effect at the moment.
Yeah, Jim Joe's just putting that APHIS down right near the edge there. That's going to be a real target in the future. If you're on the wing, you want to be building it up here, right adjacent, where Watch Behind's got their economy. What do we got over here? What was shooting up over the hill? Oh, the Sheldons. Sheldon's taking out those higher point beamers that have been built right on the edge of the hill. I do like that. I didn't even know they feet up there. And we do have Shivers coming down south.
I'm not surprised you can get beamers up as well.
Yeah. I Kill You for Fun has that catapult, but it's not being used at the moment. They're quite hard to shoot over the edge. What you want to do is just aim for the tip of the cliff, and it will shoot up and over. You want to make sure that if you've got T3, you're always using it.
I feel like the Kings are going to start to struggle soon just because they haven't taken control of this second tier of the map. They have it on that sort of top left side, but nowhere else, which means that the Peasants are going to have a good staging ground to start firing up.
They have brought the economy right in as well.
Economy though.
Yeah, their economy is almost neck and neck on metal. It's only 5% behind, which is really good for only 15 minutes into the game.
Usually we see the economies evening out at about 20 minutes.
We've got a bunch of marauders that are blocked in here. What you want to do just reclaim the twin guards.
It is very hard for another player to shoot through defenses, but yes, there definitely does need to be at least some gaps available for units to get out.
The catapult is shooting over.
These marauders are going to be doing a lot of damage when they come out, whether they go for Team Newt or whether they go for the beamer defense of Corpse. They are going to absolutely churn through because that is a nice solid 39 of them. And they're going to be backed up by some Karganeths and some Vanguards as well. So even if they only break the front and the units, they're going to leave a lot of... they still can't get out.
This is just terrible.
Oh dear.
Just shoot them. Honestly, you can shoot something like this. You're not going to get in trouble for it.
Termites on the left wing, they are going for that APHIS, but unfortunately they weren't able to all come up at the same time. So that Pulsar has taken a massive toll on them. And they're just coming in at piecemeal at the moment, so they're just not getting the damage to outdo the construction turrets. In this situation, make sure you attack the converters, not the APHIS, because the converters go down super easily. And that there is no doubt in my mind, you would have been able to get those converters and then get the APHIS if you'd gone converter first.
Yeah,
Marauders online in the top right hand side, shutting down Classics Vanguards. Does look like we do have some comms getting ready to try and deal with this. This is going to be a good amount of D-gun right there, but unfortunately quick reactions out of Oratab, grabbing himself a good amount of the those Marauders still alive, and it is Vanguards now into Razorbacks. We do have some repairs going on that Razorback though, so he should get a good amount of damage done before going down, but it is just not enough. Corpse in the way. Another lane blocking moment. They cannot go up, which is going to give just enough time, and Megax might just be able to clean these one up. He's up with the comm, 3 more down with the D-gun, and that has protected, that one Corpse has protected Maladay's base, but the Marauders are now outside of the map, and they do have some free range just to walk around right now, and it does look like the Mammoth push has started to break out over here on the left hand, just below that as well. So this is the top left hand side is in some real danger right now with the fall just there. The economy that the Kings were able to push out has made a huge amount of difference here.
Yikes, I actually thought the Peasants had this one, but it's looking good. If that APHIS went down out of Jim Jace, that's where a lot of those Marauders came from. We might have seen a different result with that push on the left there, but these Kargis are really going to just completely wipe this base. This is nothing. There's nothing in the way of this.
Just having a quick look at that base setup from Jim Jazz, that would also take out all of Watch Behind's economy as well.
Yeah, that's all it takes. And still, even the way it is now, Termites, you only probably need 3 to crest that hill there, and the conversion will pro pop. Yeah. Anyway.
But unfortunately, a lot of those units are now going to have to be used for defense because they're going to have to try and deal with all the units coming around the map. Someone should be pinging Tedster in the bottom hand side, who's got 3 fusions up at the moment. He's going to need some defenses to deal with this. A spam line to give vision, and then snipers will do absolutely phenomenally against those Marauders.
Yeah, they would. There are catapults on the south of the map here, so we've spotted... Oh, we've got a in-call game aim here. That is exactly where you want to aim, because the Termites did spot everything. Yep. If those catapults shoot up and over, that's going to be amazing. Yeah, we've got our queue there.
We do have a large number of those Termites trying to come up that cliff there, but unfortunately this time it is a little bit too late with all of those Marauders, with all of those Centurions. and the Overwatchers there, plenty of units to take care of this, and these catapults really do. They have to get that fight. They're not set to fire on the cliff. They are firing at random units.
That's a way.
But it did.
Though, is enough.
It still got it. It
Oh,
still got it.
It got
A
it.
single rocket was enough to pop
So
all
that
that
just
conversion and build power.
That just knocked about 25% of the King's economy down.
Right side over here as well.
It does look like
coming up
though
over the side.
the bottom left has not reacted quickly enough to these Marauders, and they are powering on through. Unfortunately, Tedster only just getting the snipers now, and without the spam line, these are going to be firing at things like ticks. Got to be manual firing them and pulling them back, not forwards. But unfortunately, not enough units have come out, which means these Marauders are going to clean up, I reckon, this entire corner now, which is a that is a really big problem for the Peasants. But these are going to be unchecked.
Keep on rolling around at that point.
All the players that are adjacent this area need to just clean this up and then go for the block up where Yuka's base is, and there's their commander, so that's another big economy going down for the Peasants. We did see Scrooge's economy completely go pop. Chronographer, and I think it might have been Duffy, managed to shoot up and over and kill a lot of that. So there are now 2 King bases that need to not reset, but need to build back up again to get to the level they were. These are Vanguards on the left, and the Kargis. These are going to hurt. Kargis actually go against the spam as well, because those missiles do track, and they hit almost every single shot.
But the spam is in and amongst the Vanguards, and spam is one of the best things against them, so... Unfortunately, though, as you said, those Kargis are doing a great job of cleaning them up, so even though all that spam got where it needed to be, without the other units that... Oh, no! Non-invisible comm. Clearing out a bunch of the defenses every week.
Nigerian's comm is actually walking away. You need to walk it towards what is happening. We still have the right, definitely in the favour of the Peasants. We do have a couple catapults here shooting up over the hill. Are they getting their shots off? They are being controlled by the gamer. There we go. We do have a commander here, 2 catapult volleys. They're going to do a bit of damage to that commander, taking off about 20%. They are taking out the pork though. That's what's really important, but there are a lot of T3 coming out of the middle. Orats really come online now.
The Peasants need to work together to break this, because if they do, they'll be in a great position. They're currently doubling the King's economy, which means that, but army value is approximately equal. Unfortunately for Peasants, equal army value is not a good thing, because it means that it is spread out. So, as you can see, all of these Karganeths are piling in one spot, but they only have limited amounts of stuff to defend with. Thankfully, a decent D-gun and some good volleys out of the catapults. Walking forward, though, not what you want to do with the catapults. Thankfully, just enough fire to break most of these Kargis.
Keep the catapults
and
back.
Snipers now coming to help clean them up too.
They've only got about 6,000
health. You can understand
health.
keeping them there. The catapults are much easier to replace than the build power behind them.
That is true. That is very true. But with the Shivas there, the Shivas should tank enough of this now. And very good amount of reclaim here. My big recommendation would be rezzing those catapults and reclaiming the Karganeths. Though if you don't reclaim the Karganeths, just from the spamming that's been going up here, there are probably plenty of entrances. Demon into the map. It is firing on... it got terrain blocked for a few seconds. That few seconds would have actually killed the...
Oh, but the catapults...
This is like the
there we go.
Pop it though.
Nice.
Very nice. Shields are good, but spam walls are just as important.
This is turning into one of those games where you just don't know where it's going to be in a couple minutes. Are these units on the left going to wrap around, or are the Peasants going to manage to break this right-hand side and get in? If I was Ora, I'd be going into defensive, just stopping this fall and allowing Watch Behind and Jim Jace to wrap around the map with all these Rauders, Mammoths,
these demons are doing a good job of wiping out this defense that's here.
Oh, look, demons
are
high DPS.
Demons are incredibly strong. They always have been in Kings because they're usually fighting usually by the time you have demons, the other player is getting up things
gonna
to
stop the
count
spam.
demons, like stronger T2. Oh, sorry, stronger T3.
The spam is in.
Bets.
With
Nothing's
that
gonna.
right side completely falling,
Titan doesn't
this
beat
The
spam
spam.
is
Titan's
gonna
doing
make it
okay.
land.
Spam's coming. Beamers, pulsars are coming up. Build power can reclaim. Does look like it is just enough to push this back, but vision has now been gained, which means that those catapults can fire. Look at what I mean. Look at the catapults already set to fire up there. All they have to do is clear out that Titan, and it should get a big boom up. This is where players like this is where experienced King of the Hill players will start focusing their defense on the back half of the map. They know that they don't have long to stay alive if this middle goes. No entrance is allowed to fall in King of the Hill if you want the team to live.
So close to those Avis going, probably a couple more catapult volleys, but they're going down. The laser towers do too much damage.
Nicely
Just the one
done.
pulsar left over there.
Vanguard gonna get in range.
Oh, Com goes pop on the north, and now Solus is just down to a T3 lab with all these Cargoneths coming over the edge here. The spam's going to have to...
Great pressure.
These Kargis are going to clean up a lot of that spam. They're going to clean up a lot of the Vanguards. There really needs to be more pressure put over here. I know that the attack feels like it's very important right now, but with army values being so close together, you cannot allow the back half of the map to fall. And just taking a moment to reconsolidate will give the Kings the opportunity to get back into this one. They have plenty of reclaim up here to rescale. Just the amount of energy they're producing means that they can massively run off of reclaim for a little while. But unfortunately, the attack seems to be petering out because
so close to dying. 2 more volleys and they're dead, I reckon.
One of the things, this might be a little bit controversial. There's a lot of the build power being used to repair these APHIS. I would send it onto the lab because units preventing those APHIS from taking damage is more important than healing them. Because once the damage rains in, there will be too much that any amount of healing will really matter.
And there you go, the last of the pulses. So now it's the
at this point, you're almost better off using that build power to reclaim rather than repair.
I'd be sending Spear's commander straight into the army there just for the control D. That is Orat down. So just like that, as the peasants were looking, sorry, the Kings were looking like they were clearing up the map, they've killed a good 30% of it. Peasants have managed to break the right hand side, so this is going to be very hard for the Kings to now come back from this one.
Yeah, their economy has dropped below 1,000 metal a second without the reclaim, which is a very rough position to be in at this stage of the game.
Yikes. Focusing all on this right entrance here with the peasants. The army value though for the King should be enough to keep this at bay, especially with the Kargis here to clean up the spam. I think it's going to still take a little bit more for these peasants to get through. I do like the snipers though. The snipers are going to take them out quite easily if they're microed, if they're pulled back, which they're not.
The Kings are in a rough position at this point.
What the Kings need at the moment, honestly, is metal. You can see the players that are still producing are metal locked, which means that if they can pop down enough to grab some of this reclaim, they'll be able to pump out a lot of army very quickly.
But don't reclaim too much of it because it's body blocking a lot of these units from coming up the hill.
Oh yeah,
body blocking is a temporary solution though.
Enough damage will clear that out anyway.
And whilst it's good, you can see the peasants are clearing it up anyway.
Yeah. Catapult's just firing on the ground here. These demons here should be enough to keep the spam from falling out. It is giving the opportunity for Watch Behind to now head on north again, which they needed to do anyway, because this Melody corner over here has a lot of units coming out. We've got Classic with these Vanguards and these Razorbacks. They're going to be pushing in as soon as these Vanguards get close to this entrance here. There are no shields to stop those plasma artillery shots from taking out this pork.
So, just to cover a few things while we're at this almost stalemate at the moment, the Kings generated a lot of safe space. It's no longer safe now because units have been pulled away, kings have been killed, but they generate a lot of safe spaces over here. When you start winning, devote just a few resources to grabbing a couple of T2s, a couple of Twitches, and just start area mexing this area, start reclaiming this area to deny it from the peasants. Even though the APHIS with the advanced energy converters is more efficient for producing energy, it's less efficient build cap wise than having a lot of the T2 mexes around the map. That bonus metal will help. It'll also help you set up extra things outside of the base if you need the space. It means you can spread out your economies. It means you can spread out your build power so that if somebody does fall, there's no chain reacting like what we saw between Jimmy J's and Watch Behind. So when you have that space, make sure you use it, and then it also means that you can build your pushing power slightly closer to the areas you're wrapping around as well, which means that you can keep the constant pressure instead of it ebbing out, because we did see this entire left-hand side of the map cleaned up, and the attack only just got petered out in the bottom, the very bottom of the map. There was plenty of opportunity here for the kings to push out, but unfortunately, in the same vein, there was also plenty of opportunity for the peasants to do a lot more damage than they did. That
these Shivas in the middle of the map should be enough to make it across to that eco on the left-hand side.
There are now Titans in the mix for the peasants as well, so taking bulk of those hits out of any of the bulwarks, and there goes the build power now that we can see. Most of what the kings still hold within range of these catapults. Another player's economy out there with only a few % left on this APHIS, and then there's only going to be one more economy, or two more economies up on the top of the hill. Watch Behind, building a backup economy. I love to see it out on the left, so that might be the last place to fall, but the ticks are in there now.
Which means that the peasants do know well about it. This was well played out of both teams, but the peasants were able to get that critical bit of damage done at the right time to all three of the wings, mostly because of the location of that economy, which meant that the kings push petered out and the peasants could really start. So while we do like to see that early aggression at 10 minutes to deny the ecoing, it did seem to balance out quite nicely through the match. So nicely done to both the peasants and the kings, but particularly good job to the peasants. You have overwhelmed your suppressive overlords. You've taken the hill, and now the question is, who are you going to elect to be the new kings? Who's going to be the new ruling class? And are you going to have to come after them again in Raptor Crater? That's the question.
I really liked how close this one was for the kings. They almost got out there. They almost managed to do the wraparound, and now just the one comp to go down there. Unfortunately, leaving the game there. With one commander, if we can get a control D on that one, or the ticket about to find it anyway.
Should find it here in a second.
There we go. With no energy, that commander is becoming visible, and
there we go.
Time to go pop. Really nicely done, peasants, and really nicely done, kings. Almost got out there and almost took the win, but just too much coming in on the right there.
As you can see from the
oh wow, look at the damage eco. Bottom right, it's insane.
And considering he did that one without the co-oping that we usually see, but you also can see just the damage dealt. Watch Behind, absolutely crazy amount of damage dealt from Watch Behind. Didn't come online at that 10-minute mark, but came online at around about that 12, and then just kept on going, pushing around the map. Very nicely done. That's the power of not putting pressure on a king and letting them go up to 4 APHIS. That's a huge amount of economy.
Alright guys, we hope you enjoyed that one on the video replay, and as for in-game, we'll jump into the next one.
Thanks for joining us. Like, subscribe, comment, join us on the Discord, all that good stuff. Catch you next time.